So I just want to do a quick review of this Victorinox 3.25-inch paring knife with the straight edge. This is the standard classic Victorinox paring knife. Sells for about $6 to $7. Amazon must sell thousands upon thousands of these. They're just super popular, very simple, very easy. I've had this one for about 2 years. It's one of, I don't know, maybe 4 that I have, and it's just a really easy, sharp little knife to have around. And for $7, it's hard to say no, but I do think the knife has some problems. First of all, I'd say I'm a fan of Victorinox. I have a few of their knives, mostly their chef's knives, my favorite. So I didn't have a problem with spending $6.95 or $7 or whatever on this. The knife is really simple. Steel blade. This handle, it's plastic handle, polypropylene. I think they have a fancy name for it or something, but it's just plastic. It's dishwasher safe, so that's really nice, unlike some other fancy paring knives I have that I don't like to put in the dishwasher. And the only sort of marking on it, the handle itself, is Swiss made right there, which is nice. This side does say Victorinox, so that's good. 3.25 inches is a very standard size for a paring knife. It's very easy to handle for people of all hand sizes, so that's good. This is very tiny. It's a small blade, which is not really a big deal. It has a little bit of flex, so that's worth keeping in mind. The knife ships very sharp, so that's good. It's got a very sharp point, which some people like. I think is a downside, because I think the chance I'm going to use this for cutting is very small, whereas the chance I'm going to poke myself with it is much, much higher. I would prefer to see a rounded tip, like on this Kyocera ceramic. As for the handle, it's very small. I don't have a problem holding it, but it is it's not very big in your hands. Here's a reference point. This is much more comfortable over time. Again, this isn't usually problematic, but it's worth keeping in mind. The blade itself is, I would say, pretty much symmetrical, which is fine, except when you pick up the knife between the small handle and the symmetrical blade, it's really hard to tell the cutting end. Obviously, there's a little cutout here for your hand to hold on to, but it's hard to see. So I've seen people dozens of times pick this knife up and start cutting like this, which is super, super dangerous. Not that you would put your finger on the back of the blade of a paring knife, but if you were to and apply any pressure whatsoever, it would be bad news. So I think this knife, I would love to see it with a more distinctive design to the handle, so it was really clear what side is the sharp end and which isn't. This little divot right there is really not sufficient in my mind. And then again, the blade doesn't have any markings on it that would really tell you, with any degree of distinction, which side is sharp. So that just sort of scares me that someone's going to grab this and put their finger down, thinking they have it the right way. Past that, I think this blade is totally fine for $7. It really holds up well. It's just easy to use. It's cheap. You could throw it in the dishwasher, and if it gets dull, obviously it's steel, so you could sharpen it. But the best point with it, or the best part about it, is that you could buy a bunch of them, use them, and not really have to baby them. So I would much rather, at least me personally, have 5 of these than one $50 paring knife. And that's just how I use my knives. I'd rather get them and just not have to baby them. I know some other people prefer to have fancy equipment. That's totally legitimate. I like craftsmanship and all that as much as the next guy. But for paring knife, give me something simple and something sharp that I don't have to worry too much about. And that's my preference. That's why I like these. I kind of wish they had something a little bit higher end, like maybe $12 instead of $6. And I could get a little bit more heft to the blade, a little bit more of an ergonomic handle, but it is what it is. I would say, and what I'll probably do one of these days, is buy this in the serrated version. Basically, it has a serrated blade. If you go from, maybe for like 50 cents more. They even have a serrated blade with a larger handle, I'm told, but I've never used that one before. They have a straight blade with a larger handle as well, and I will probably try one of those out, but again, I haven't used one of those yet. So keep an eye out for those if you are in the market for a paring knife. So yeah, I guess in summary, I would say I've had this knife for about 2 years and it's held up really well, so I can't complain. I've had some scary moments when I've seen people, and myself included, pick it up backwards, but no one's ever cut themselves. So maybe that's a threat, maybe it's not, or maybe it's a problem, maybe it's not. The handles have held up well. All of mine have a few little burn marks just because you put it down next to a hot pot or something like that, but the handles have never cracked in any way, and they've been dishwashed hundreds of times. So I will say this polypropylene handle is really, really well done. It has a fair amount of grip, but not a huge amount. The knife has stayed sharp, but I have sharpened these a few times, and I use my normal, cheapo sharpening equipment, not like a whetstone or anything, just a normal sharpening, tools you get from Amazon. I'm blanking on the names right now, but they're very easy to find, and I'll link to them below. As for a quick cutting test, I'll just go through this. Only downward pressure. No problem there. Definitely has stayed nice and sharp, even though I'm not highly diligent with sharpening them. Paper is usually a better test. And again, I haven't sharpened these in a while. And I don't keep these really sharp, but they do dull over time. And maybe, again, that's more of a testament to how I use it than how sharp it is, but they will get dull over time. It's not like one of these ceramic guys, which gets dull but tends to hold the blade better. So yeah, that is the Victorinox 3.25-inch paring knife with straight edge spear point. Sold in other varieties that I have yet to test, but highly recommended, although not as highly as this Kyocera, which I've reviewed in another video. Thanks for watching.